Hi Leo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your September 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Leo is the first house, all the way through to Cancer representing the 12th. Once we get to the main spread, we'll pull an oracle card as well for some additional insight. As far as the decks being used for the main tarot deck, we have the Brady Tarot, and for the oracle deck, we have the Wisdom of the Oracle. We're actually going to start the reading off our rolling dose of astrology. I see my in front of us to get an idea where your focus should be as far as that goes. All right, so we have one. So makes sense in a certain regard as far as, you guys still have plenty of energy moving through your sign, right? We had the new moon eclipse in your sign recently. Sun pretty much was wrapping up its transit through your sign. We still have Mercury there for a few more days. We have Jupiter there for an extended stay, right? So still plenty of energy going through your sign, even as we're moving into Virgo season. All right, we have Scorpio. So, I will say, astrologically speaking, this area is a little more quiet, but I will say the significant thing going on with Scorpio that comes to mind is we currently have Venus in Libra, and then it's going to start a pre-shadow period right at the end of August, and on the 10th of September, while still in its pre-shadow, it's going to enter into Scorpio. So that's significant there. And for you guys, Scorpio is your fourth house of home, roots, and family. Actually, technically, at the very, very end of the month, too, Mercury's going to move into Scorpio. And let's see, we have Mars. Okay, so Mars really, for the majority of September, it's going to be in Cancer, but toward the end of the month, on the 27th, it will be moving into your sign. So in that regard, it makes sense to see this popping up as well. But yeah, Mars will spend most of the month in your 12th house, which points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health. And then, like we said, toward the end of the month, it will move into your sign. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. For your first house energy pointing to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have High Priestess. So interesting, right? Because this is a very introspective energy to see come up in the first house, especially for fire energy, right? But it could just be saying that you guys could be a little bit more tapped into your intuition. Again, going back to the fact we did just have that eclipse in your sign recently, right? Could just be saying that maybe that really shifted things for you in that regard, and now you're just kind of carrying that energy forward. We do still have the South Node in your sign, which could be a spiritual thing as well. So yeah, could just be saying that you're a bit more intuitive, maybe even a little more withdrawn on the surface, but there's plenty going on beneath the surface for you guys this month. All right, so for your second house, which points to possession, self-worth, and finances, we have Three of Arrows, which is mourning. So this is the equivalent of the Three of Swords in a lot of decks. It's a Libra energy. So what I'm getting from this could just be saying some conversations around some disappointment when it comes to your finances, right? So for some of you, given that Libra is your house of communication, it could be maybe a deal that you thought was going to come through for you, it might fall through at the last minute, right? So it could just be one of those things where it might not have necessarily gotten off the ground, but of course there would have been some optimism around the idea initially, but there could just be some conversations where all parties involved might decide, yeah, we can't really make this happen right now. But yeah, given that it says mourning too, to me it says that you would be able to actually get past it, of course. I don't feel like it's going to be a major hurdle for you guys in that area of life, but of course there could definitely be some real disappointment of it not taking off the way you'd hoped. Alright, so for your third house of communication, short journeys, and siblings, we have the Lovers. So this is a Gemini energy here. So in a more positive sense, while one deal might fall through, right, with this communication here, it could just be saying you might actually find yourselves quickly being able to secure another one. So that would be the positive there. But yeah, or this could also just saying that there's a need to make decisions, right, based on what took place there. So either way, I feel like this is saying the communication will be flowing, and it looks like there will be mutual interest in all parties involved to figure out something that works best for everyone too, which is a positive. All right, so for your fourth house of home, roots, and family, we have the Magician. So this is actually a good thing to see here, right? Because what it tells me is once you actually are able to step away, so we were talking about the high priestess, right? Saying that you might be a bit more withdrawn this month. I feel like this is saying that when you do get into your home environment, or maybe even when you're around people who you feel at home with, right? Whether it be family or just people who feel like family to you, I feel like this is saying your ideas will start to flow, your creativity will start to flow, and you'll figure out creative ways to use your resources to navigate these energies. All right, so for your fifth house of romance, creativity, and children, we have discipline. So this is Virgo energy here. It's the Eight of Roots or Eight of Pentacles in a lot of decks. And so it could just be pointing to timing, right? Saying that as we're moving through these first 10 degrees of Virgo, you could be feeling this energy the most. But more so than that, what I'm getting from this could just be saying that you're looking at things through a more serious lens when it comes to this area of life, right? Because the fifth house can be more light and playful. But here I feel like this is saying that not to say that you won't have any joy in that area of life, but just more of you're also looking to the long term within it too, right? So you're like, okay, on the surface level, this is okay, I'm dating someone, but with the long term goal in mind of moving toward a committed relationship, right? Or okay, we're just going out and doing things with my kids, but overall, I'm trying to instill in them long term skills that they could take with them, right? So just one of those things there where I feel like this is saying you're on the one hand being able to be in the moment, but also with a vision toward the future at the same time. So for your sixth house of work, health, and daily routines, we have the Ace of Horns or Ace of Cups in a lot of decks, and it's a joy. So obviously a good thing to see here because that says to me that again, it looks like there could be some financial deal, like we said, that might fall through for you guys, but it also looks like within your work, your or just your daily routines in general, you have an optimistic attitude about the situation to where you can bounce back quickly and look forward to more opportunities in the future. All right, for your seventh house of partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have judgment. So, interestingly enough, this could be saying that an opportunity from your past might be coming back around, right? So, generic example, right? Like we said, maybe one financial deal might fall through, but then another one from the past that maybe couldn't get off the ground before might come right back around, and now the timing is better for all parties involved. This can also point to that we were already talking about the Venus pre-shadow energy that'll be coming up as we move into September. So it could be pointing to that as well, where something from your past could be coming back around. And again, maybe the timing wasn't right in the past, but you could find better timing now. All right, so for the eighth house energy, which points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Father of Roots. So this is really the equivalent of the King of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. And seeing this here says to me that if there are some kind of investments you made, right, whether they be actually investing money or even just time and resources of some other kind, energy, right, I feel like this is saying that those investments will pay off in the long run. I feel like this is saying that they have strong roots, right? So even if there's some ebb and flow with them, it looks like they're reliable things that you can look to in the future. And then same thing if this is rather than more of an investment side of things, but also intimacy, right? I feel like this is saying that you built some strong roots there as well. All right, so for your ninth house of philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have the Nine of Roots, which is accomplishment. So more Virgo energy here. So again, this could be another one that's pointing more to the timeline we'll be moving through in early September, because this is the middle 10 degrees of Virgo. But beyond that, I feel like this is just saying that through these things, right? They might be reminders for you that, hey, you know what? No matter what may come and go, I could always count on myself, right? If all else fails, to keep things moving along, right? To get my finances straightened out, to be able to provide for myself and my family. So I feel like that's just a feeling that you have right now where you're realizing that, okay, even when there's challenges that are at play, I could come through and provide. All right. And the 10th house of career and social status, we have the Hermit. So this is actually more Virgo energy here as well. So definitely a good thing to see popping up in the career. But yeah, it could just be saying that you might be finding yourselves learning more things too. And maybe that's part of what that accomplishment is about as well, right? Maybe you received some certifications recently, possibly even gotten some kind of a degree, right? To where now you have more knowledge within the workplace. This could also just be saying that people might look to you as a source of knowledge as well, right? So they just say, okay, you know what? If there's something we have some confusion around, hey, we know we could count on Leo to come to them and find out what's what. Now, in some scenarios, something like that could sound like it could be a burden, right? It could be a bit overkill, but it looks like you guys are able to navigate that. So I don't feel like it's over the top in any way, just more of someone knows that, hey, we're fairly self reliant, but hey, if there is something we have a question on, we know we could count on Leo to actually give the answer. All right, so for the 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the Son of Horns. So this is actually the equivalent of the Knight of Cups, which is for the most part a Pisces energy. But seeing this here in your 11th house, I feel like this is saying that you might be putting yourselves out there in some way, right? Maybe trying to make some new connections, which is interesting, right? Because I was saying with the High Priestess, you might be a little bit more withdrawn, but maybe that's part of why, right? You might find that your needs are shifting when it comes to what you look for with your friendships, right? Maybe your interest is starting to shift a little bit, and you're saying, hey, you know what? Can I find someone where I could have a meeting of the minds of where I'm at now, right? Versus the people that, yeah, not to say you're devaluing those connections, but you're like, yeah, they're still great and they hold a place in my life and in my heart, but maybe we just don't have the same mutual interest like we did before, right? So there could be an energy of you guys putting yourselves out there for a very, very small percentage of you just even just be saying that, hey, maybe someone you've built a friendship with over the years, now you're interested in building roots with them in a more romantic sense too. And that could be what we see with the discipline and the judgment there too. All right, so for your 12th house energy, which points to blind spots, mental health, spirituality, we have death. So Scorpio energy here certainly looks dramatic on the surface, right? But for this to be a 12th house thing, I feel like this could be you shedding something from your past, right? Shedding maybe old beliefs that you might have held. So, for example, maybe even given that Scorpio is your natural fourth house, could be beliefs that you might have held from your early upbringing, right? So, of course, sometimes we could have great beliefs that carry on from our early upbringing, but sometimes they're not the best either, right? So, sometimes you could have those harsh beliefs, or someone might have said to you when you were younger, and maybe they didn't realize that the impact of their words, but it might have stuck with you in a negative way, right? So, it could be those kinds of things that you could be looking at and shedding them around this time, which would be obviously the more positive way to play out. But yeah, this could also just be saying that if you had like a mindset that you found wasn't healthy for you too, you could just be letting it go. So even if it's not anything related to your distant past, it could just be one of those things where you're looking at that like, yeah, you know what, this doesn't really suit me, doesn't really benefit me in any way, I'm going to let that go. All right, and for the bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Arrows, which is Six of Swords in a lot of decks, and that's Passage in this deck. So this is an Aquarius energy. So for some of you, this could actually just be saying maybe your beliefs are shifting around relationships in some way. So in that sense, could be romantic partnerships or just partnerships in general. Maybe this is saying you've held some beliefs around that for a long time, and now you're revisiting that and saying, okay, maybe because I held those beliefs, I might have passed up some opportunities from the past that maybe were better off for me. So now you could be looking at that again and revisiting that. But that's what I see with that. A positive for sure. And that could be due to having the North Node in Aquarius, which is your opposite sign too. There could be some growth around that area of life. But lastly, what we'll do is we'll pull an oracle card and wrap up with that. So I'm going to give this a few shuffles. We'll cut the deck and pull a card. Okay, we'll take this card here, get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. All right, we have Time for a Nap. There's the artwork, and the number is 24. Interesting, right? Because that definitely Goes back to what I was saying with the High Priestess energy, right? Where you might be a little bit more withdrawn for a bit. But we'll see what it has to say. All right, essential meanings says rest, rejuvenation, and renewal, temporary non action, allowing dreams to arise. The Oracle's message: this is a time to step away and rest. Let the cares of your world go. Go into a state of non action and allow yourself to be free of the shackles of your goals, your list, your desires. Nothing is as important as rest, detachment, and neutrality. The overly busy mind can block you from inner wisdom if you don't step back, take a seat, and rest. Be willing to let dreams surface and ideas flow through you, absent any force or conscious direction as you observe without engagement now. Yeah, definitely a positive message there, and it does actually take me back to what we were saying with Mars being in your 12th house, right? It could be one of those times where ideas might be buzzing around in your head, but you might not necessarily have the full energy to meet those needs of what you are thinking of doing. And then, like we said, toward the end of the month, it will move into your sign. So it could just be as simple as saying, yeah, just ride out through Virgo season. Right when we get to Libra season, you'll start to feel the energy pick up a little bit more to where you could actually take action on some of those things. All right, the relationship message says when it comes to matters of the heart, don't make any plans right now. If you're not partnered, it's good to take this time out to get to know yourself. If you're involved with someone else, relax and just be with your partner. This is going to be an uneventful moment in time. Don't force anything now. Allow things to flow naturally, and a beautiful renewal will take place all by itself. Patience is the key to your heart's desire right now. Withdraw from action in your relationship and give it a rest so that your love and connection can become rejuvenated. So yeah, that was an interesting message because it definitely seems to align with the energy of judgment in that regard, right? Where things could come back around for revisiting. All right, the prosperity message says this is a great time to take a break from your busy schedule and allow yourself the opportunity to step back. Your plans are meant to be put on ice. Your goals can wait. Dream, imagine, and let go of attachments to any outcome now. Meditate and take a holiday if you can. Things will speed up soon enough. After a break, you may want to make some changes. Epiphanies have an amazing way of arising when you take your focus off your to do list and allow yourself to rest. Yeah, that's another solid message there. And again, like I said, I feel like that's calling back to the Mars energy being in your 12th house for most of the month, and then finally toward the end of the month, moving into your sign. And it'll be there for, at least about a month and a half at that point. So hopefully that resonates with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.